Welcome back to my channel. I am Ajahn Nat. In this video clip, we will talk about inflection. So let's get started. Before we talk about inflection, let's review about morphemes first. Because inflection is one type of morpheme. As mentioned in the first week, morpheme is a smallest meaningful unit that we cannot further divide. There are two types of morphemes, which are free morphemes and bound morphemes. Free morphemes is a type of morphemes that can stand alone by itself and have a complete meaning. It is to say, they have ability to be a word. But bound morphemes are the morphemes that have to be bound with the free morpheme to have the complete meaning. For example, the word responsibility. This word can be divided into three morphemes, which are response, able, and it. These are morphemes because we cannot further meaningfully divide them. As you can see, the morpheme response can stand alone and have the meaning by itself. Then we can categorize response as a free morpheme. However, for the morpheme able and it, they are all bound morphemes because they cannot stand alone and have a complete meaning by themselves. These are the example of free and bound morphemes. Also, in the case of bound morpheme, we can differentiate it into two types, which are derivational bound morphemes and inflectional bound morphemes. Derivational bound morphemes are morphemes that attach to the free morpheme to change meaning or change part of speech or change both. On the other hand, inflectional bound morphemes are the morphemes that we attach to the free morphemes to carry grammatical meaning or grammatical function. For example, in the case of the word responsibility, if we change this word to have plural form to be like responsibilities, we are going to have four morphemes in this word, which are response, able, it, and s. As you can see, the morpheme able and it, we attach them to the morpheme response to change the meaning and part of speech of the morpheme response. On the other hand, the morpheme s here, which is considered as a bound morpheme, because if the morpheme s stand alone, the meaning is incomplete. Moreover, the morpheme s doesn't affect meaning or part of speech like the morpheme like derivational bound morpheme, like the case of able and it. Rather, s here is carries grammatical meaning or grammatical function of plural instead. Then we can consider the morpheme as inflectional bound morpheme. And this is what are we going to focus in this chapter, inflection. English is a language that is quite poor in inflection. English inflection are attached to only noun, pronoun, verbs, and adjectives. So let's have a look at more detail on how each word class in English will be affected by the inflection. To begin with the first type, noun inflection. Inflection that we found in noun can differentiate between singular and plural that belongs to the number, which is one type of the grammatical categories to denote the quantity in noun. Be careful, only plural nouns that receive inflection, while the singular noun don't. Singular noun will be considered as unmarked to refer that they are not affected by the inflection. For a regular noun, inflection will be carried through the suffixation process. For example, singular noun, a brush, and plural noun, we have brushes. For singular noun, a singer, and plural noun, we have singers. As you can see, we add the suffix s or es to mark the distinction between plural noun, and we can describe that the plural nouns such as brushes and singers are affected by the inflection to carry the grammatical categories number, to be specific, plural, by the suffixation process. On the other hand, for an irregular noun, inflection will be marked the same grammatical category, which is number. But in this case, in the irregular noun, inflection will be carried through three different processes, which are the first one, internal stem change, which is a process that we change at least one sound, but the change form still recognized to the original form. For example, singular noun, a mouse, and then in plural noun we have mice. So the vowel O in mouse is changed to I in mice, but it's still recognized to the original one. Or singular noun, a foot, and plural noun we have feet. The vowel changed from U, foot, into E, feet. So we can describe that the plural noun such as mice and feet are affected by the inflection to carry the grammatical categories number, or to be specific, plural, by the internal stem change process. And the second process is syncretism, or what we call serial morphemes. This process has two names, but so you can refer to this process either syncretism or serial morphemes, and they still refer to the same process, same thing. Syncretism or serial morpheme is a process that we add nothing to denote the number. which is a really rare case to be found. For example, the word moose or sheep that can be used to refer to both singular and plural, as in the sentence, the moose is migrating, or the moose are migrating, or the sheep is ready to be fed, or the sheep are ready to be fed. We can describe that the plural nouns such as moose and sheep are affected by inflection to carry the grammatical categories number, or to be specific, plural, by the syncretism or serial morpheme process. Another special case for noun is that English nouns are also inflected by genitive case. Genitive case refer to the grammatical category that mark the possession on the following noun. It is special because the genitive case can occur with both singular and plural. For example, the neighbor's car is so expensive. The apostrophe s is inflected by inflection to carry the genitive case through the suffixation process to denote the possession that the car belongs to the neighbor. Or in case you have many neighbors, we can have the sentence like, neighbors' cars are so expensive. So the inflectional bound morpheme s here carries both genitive case and number, plural, through the suffixation process to denote the possession that the car belongs to the neighbor and the quantity of the car. The second word class that is attached by the inflection is pronoun. The type of pronoun that receive inflection to express grammatical categories are personal pronoun, reflexive pronoun, and demonstrative pronoun. Let's have a look at personal pronoun first. English personal pronouns are normally inflected to express three types of grammatical categories, which are nominative case, accusative case, and dative case. That is to say, the nominative case refers to the role of pronoun that acts as the actor of the action, while accusative case refers to the role of pronoun that acts as the patient of the action. For example, I teach him. I is a pronoun that receives inflection to express nominative case, while him is a pronoun that receives inflection to express accusative case. And for the genitive case, as I mentioned in noun, genitive case express the possession of the particular noun. For example, the dog is mine, or the money was really theirs for the taking. So, mine and theirs are the pronouns that receive inflection to express dative case. Personal pronouns receive inflection through three processes. The first one is internal stem change. For example, he and him. So we can describe that the pronoun he and him receives inflection to carry the grammatical categories nominative case for he and accusative case for him through the internal stem change process. The second process is syncretism or serial morpheme. For example, it. Like in the sentence, it falls into it. Because it can be both subject and object, right? Without changing the form. So we can describe that the pronoun it receives the inflection to carry the grammatical category nominative case and accusative case through syncretisms or serial morphemes process. The third one, suppletion process. This is the new process that I haven't mentioned before. So for suppletion process, it is a process that we change the form without having any similarity to the original one. For example, we and us or I and me. We can describe that the pronoun we and us or I and me receive the inflection to carry the grammatical categories nominative case for we and I and accusative case for us and me through suppletion process. Be careful! There is a special case that English personal pronoun can be inflected by number as well, which means it can receive singular and plural grammatical categories. For example, in the case of singular subject I and plural subject we. Or singular object me and plural object us. Next, the second type of pronoun that receive inflection is reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronouns are pronouns that refer back to person or a thing. For example, ourself, themself, yourself. This type of pronoun receive inflection to mark the distinction between singular and plural through the suffixation process. So we can describe that the pronoun ourself, yourself, themselves receive the inflection to carry the grammatical categories plural number through suffixation process. And the third type of pronoun that receive inflection is demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronouns are pronouns that point out specific things. For example, this, these, that, those. These types of pronoun receive inflection to mark the distinction between singular and plural through through the internal stem change process. So we can say that the pronoun these and those receive the inflection to carry the grammatical category plural number through the internal stem change process. And the third word class in English that is attached by inflection is verb. This is the most complex among other cases, among other word classes. We can broadly divide verbs into two groups, which are tense-related or finite verb, and non-tense related or non-finite verb. So let's begin with tense related first. There are three subtypes, which are past tense form, third person singular present tense form, and general tense form. The first one, past tense form. Past tense forms are verb forms that indicate the event that happened in the past. Verbs in these subtypes are all receiving inflection to express tense, to be specific, past tense, which tense considered as grammatical categories, but the subtypes of it is past. So, regular verbs normally have ed, suffix ed, to express inflection, which is considered as the suffixation process. For example, booked, shocked, worked. So we can say that the verbs booked, shocked, worked receive the inflection to carry the grammatical categories past tense through the suffixation process.
I forgot to mention in the video clip, another type of verb that we have is English irregular verbs. So in English irregular verbs, it is a verb that we change it into past tense form by not adding the suffix ed into it. So we have three different processes, which are internal stem change, suppletion, and syncretism. As I mentioned before, internal stem change is a process that we change some sound of the word. For example, in the case of the verb break, broke, or sing, song. And in suppletion, it is a process that we totally change the form. For example, the verb go to went, is, am, are to was, were. And in syncretism or zero morpheme, it is a process that we change nothing to the form. So we have the verb cut, cut, and broadcast. So let's go back to the video.
The second subtype of tense-related form is third person singular present tense forms. Be careful, quite long. So third person singular present tense form are verb forms that occur when we talk about present tense actions, and the subject is third person like he, she, it, or Lisa, and then we add s into the verb. For example, he usually works at night, or Lisa comes back to Thailand often. Verbs in this subtype are all receiving inflection to express third-person singular present tense grammatical categories. And we express inflection through the use of the suffix s or es. Then it is considered as the suffixation process. And the third type, which is the last type of tense-related form, is general present tense form. This type of verb occurs when we talk about present simple action and the subject is plural or I. It contrasts with the third person singular present tense form. For example, I usually go to Japan. Students usually study hard. As you can see, there is no inflection in this type, so it could be said that general present tense form is usually unmarked. Unmarked means it doesn't receive inflection. So that's all for tense-related form. Then let's have a look at non-tense-related form or non-finite verb. There are three types, which are base form, present participle form, and past participle form. Let's start with base form first. Base form is a verb form that can be found after the modal auxiliary verb form. We can say that it is infinite verb form. For example, you could leave tomorrow. Leave. Or it may rain this evening. Rain. Or she should stop eating sweet. Stop. This type of verb is identical to general present tense form in the way that it doesn't receive inflection as well. That is to say, it is unmarked. ย้ำอีกครั้งนะคะ unmarked. Then, the second type of non-tense related is present participle form. Present participle form refers to the verbs that denote continuous tenses. For example, I am speaking, speaking. Or you were wetting her, wetting. Speaking and waiting are the present participle verb form. In this case, it is really special because the verb speaking and waiting receive inflection to express the grammatical categories, the progressive aspect, through the suffix ing, which is the suffixation process. Progressive aspect is the grammatical category that show the ongoing action, either past or present or in the future, which normally can be found in continuous tenses. So we can say that the verbs speaking and waiting in the example receive inflection to carry the grammatical categories progressive aspect through the suffixation process. And the last type of the non-tense related is past participle form. Past participle form refers to the verb form that can be found in passive voice or in perfect tenses. For example, she was selected to be the head of the group, or I have been to J-band last year. Selected and been are the past participle verb form. As for the processes of this type, the processes of this type is similar to past tense form. If it is a regular verb, the suffix ed will be used, like in the case of selected. Then it is a suffixation process. While in the case of irregular verb, there are three processes which are internal same change, like swim, swam, go, gone, or suppletion, like win, won, and syncretism or seromorphism, or like cut, cut, come, come. For the grammatical categories, there are two grammatical categories that are expressed through past participle forms. The first one, perfective aspect. Perfective aspect is the grammatical category that indicates the completion of the action, which normally can be found in perfect tenses. For example, in the present perfect tense, I have eaten the last piece of blueberry pie, or in the past perfect, like I had eaten the last piece of blueberry pie, and in the future perfect, like I will have eaten the last piece of blueberry pie. So, the second type, passive voice. Passive voice is the grammatical category that indicates the shifting from the actor of the action to the patient. For example, she was selected to be the head of the group. And the last English word class that receives inflection is adjective. For example, glass is green, positive form. The grass is greener now than in winter, greener, comparative form. And the last one, the grass is greenest in early summer, greenest, the superlative form. So there are two types of adjective that receive inflection, which are comparative form and superlative form. As you can see, comparative and superlative adjective are normally expressed through the suffix er and est respectively, which are considered as suffixation process. However, in some cases, there is a special case as well. For example, good, better, and best. In this case, we consider better and best as suppletion because it is totally changed. So, the grammatical category that is expressed through adjective is called degree. So, there are two types of degree according to the type of adjectives, which are comparative degree and superlative degree. So, we can say that greener is the adjective that receives the inflection to express the grammatical category called comparative degree through the process of suffixation. Or best is the adjective that receives inflection to express the grammatical category called superlative grade through the process of suppletion. So that's all for chapter 2, inflection. I hope you understand it, and in the next video clip, we will talk about the derivation. So please stay tuned and have a great day. Bye!